For more information related to my rating system, the video description should be satisfactory. Now it's time to discharge the spoiler-laden review. I never really gave JoJo's Bizarre Adventure much thought. My brother had shown me an abridged series comprised of clips from an old OVA, and with the large cast and ludicrously masculine designs, I didn't see much I would be interested in. Then I was 5 stories up on the top bunk in a Chicago hostel when I noticed that Stardust Crusaders was in the list of updated anime on Crunchyroll. I was mostly watching the latest anime, but I decided to give the earlier episodes of JoJo's a watch. My initial reaction was just how good the show looked. It wouldn't be until later rewatching the show that I would see how many still frames and little tricks were used to create the powerful sensation the show delivered, but I was blown away by its quality. That quality was complemented by the show's bravado, primarily in the form of Dio Brando. When Dio leapt out of the carriage and gave Jonathan a domineering look, accentuated by unique sound design and shaking katakana, I was hooked. Now, if you're interested in why JoJo's is such a fantastic show, I recommend you check out Super Eyepatch Wolf's 2 in-depth videos, which I will link in the description. They helped me get a better understanding why I enjoyed the first part, Phantom Blood, and why the later Battle Tendency turned me into such a huge JoJo's fan. Now, as much as I enjoyed Phantom Blood as it drew me into the series, I would probably only give it a 7 or 8 rating. The characters outside of Jonathan and Dio serve only as filler villains or tell us how wonderful Jonathan is. While Jonathan is lovable, he isn't very deep. His emotions and actions are very straightforward, more bending to the environments he's placed in than having any established character traits. The other major weakness is how Phantom Blood handles character death. As Super Eyepatch Wolf points out in his videos, holding someone while they're giving their last words isn't exactly how death works. It is usually unexpected and fast, or, as we're seeing in JoJo's Season 4, you can live too long until your mental and physical abilities leave you when you are but a husk of your former self. Phantom Blood has characters slowly dying in someone's arms 3 times, with Jonathan's father and Jonathan himself both slowly giving farewells, while Dio is in a prime position to befoul the situation. With all that said, Phantom Blood is still an enjoyable over-the-top romp that runs with the Fist of the North Star baseline and mixes it up with crazy vampire and zombie antics, creating a truly memorable and daunting villain in Dio. The shift from episode 9 ending Phantom Blood into the rest of the series comprised of Battle Tendency was not easy. For the majority of episode 10, I was pretty pissed that my lovable gentlemanly giant had been replaced with the loudmouth buffoon that is Joseph Joestar. I figured the story would continue to be hormone users trying to stop vampires, with Straits as the new vampire, in another Punch-Out adventure, this time in America some years later. It wasn't until Joseph whipped out a Tommy gun and shot up a cafe declaring "This is war" with tears in his eyes at the end of the episode that I changed my tune. I've watched Battle Tendency 3 times now, and it still continues to be my personal favorite bit of anime out there. The story is compact with a constant sense of urgency and scale. Joseph is crazy, but always consistent in his character, displaying real character growth, but never losing what makes him so darn fun to watch. The only major complaint being that the Pillar Men, AC/DC in particular, weren't fleshed out enough. But with that said, they still feel like they are grounded in the world and like the ludicrously overpowered demigods they are. Hats off to David Production as they managed to translate Araki's impactful panels into equally impactful frames. Now, the manga has far more detail and warps character models quite a bit, so the main strategy used to create a sense of impact is JoJo's top-tier sound design. Where Phantom Blood was getting the hang of great sound design, such as Dio's arrival, Battle Tendency knows what it wants to do and delivers, as seen in JoJo's fight against the first Pillar Man.
と呼んで波紋ヘアアタックお前はジョセフ・ジョースターキャリアだぜ
The music is minimal but tense, and every effect is used to create a feeling of dramatic impact or tension. I'm a fan of realistic sound design and slice-of-life anime, but JoJo's is action sound design done right. In the music department, you have quite a few standouts, with the Awaken, however you pronounce this, and Propaganda being 3 of my personal favorites. Awaken and Propaganda because they do a great job of building up hype, as well as amping up powerful scenes, and this one because of how fitting it is in its use. It is used as Caesar's theme, which is fitting early on as it adds a sense of confidence and grandeur to the character that cares so much about his Italian family ties, but becomes a powerful, heartbreaking song when you learn the lyrics. I cried quite a bit when I first experienced Caesar's death, even more when I was listening to the soundtrack, and even more when I read the English translation to the lyrics, and more every time I rewatch episode 20 or re-listen to the song. It is the final crescendo that always gets me. Wherever you go, wherever I go, my love lies deep within your life. My love remains in your days. It takes just one of your smiles, one single smile. My soul shall never die. It is immortal. It is no use shedding tears for me. It is difficult to express in words how much I truly love this show, but I'll fight on. The utilization of animation resources to ensure the episodes always looked great when they needed to, even though you can tell the show didn't have the highest of budgets, is another example of JoJo striving to outdo itself. Nowhere is this more clear than episode 22, A True Warrior. The CG used for the chariot race is not the best, but the 2D still looks great, utilizing a lot of still frames and tight split screens to maintain quality and visual interest, with the sound effects continuing to portray impact. Then the animation gets quite smooth in this great shot of JoJo vaulting himself into the air in slow motion. It all works together beautifully to create the illusion that the events taking place are not simply comprised of many still images, but are part of a larger moving whole. Lastly, the OP and ED. Both the OPs in JoJo's first season are pretty darn fantastic, but the vibrant colors, fluid motions, and seriously jammable song is what makes the OP for Battle Tendency one of my favorites and one I rewatch frequently. The ED is less visually impressive, but what really impressed me about Battle Tendency is how the ending music of the ED would change, and it changes quite a few times in order to better match the ending of a given episode. It was a great surprise and helped to make a visually lackluster ED stand out in an already standout show. Holy crap, this has been a long review, but there is still so much to talk about. If you want to know more or have questions related to the JoJo's anime, feel free to leave a comment. I'm more than happy to converse with you.